Aloha, Sharks Nation! We are back, and welcome back to you to Sharks Weekly, your inside look at Hawaii Pacific University athletics, right here on Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. We are live from Hawaii Pacific University's beautiful esports arena at Aloha Tower Marketplace, powered by DSE Hawaii. A quick mahalo to our producer, Mr. Paul Brecht, who keeps us sounding good, and to the Hawaii Sports Radio Network staff who help us bring the show to you live every week. Today, we are excited to be talking about one of the newest additions to HPU Athletics, Ohana, the HPU Stunt team. But let me first also introduce HPU's Assistant Director of Strategic Communications and our sidekick here on the show, Mr. Greg Fishbach. Greg, how are you doing this morning?
It's good to be back. It's good to see everybody. You know, this is an exciting time for athletics here. Something big happened, right? Do you want to... What happened?
Very big. You know, we're going to talk a little bit about this, but we might as well just kind of, throw it out there. For those of you that don't know, one of the major upsets in collegiate sports history happened just the other night.
Right.
What was that, Greg?
There's a basketball, right? Basketball game, yeah. Boise State.
Big HPU takes down Division I Boise State.
Yeah.
I think,
game.
Woo. All of our listeners, if you hadn't heard, that's a major upset. Rivals, we were just talking about the Chaminade, Virginia upset from the 80s, I believe.
Another good game.
Another good game. But this one was a big one, and it certainly got HPU on the national radar. We've been getting a lot of buzz about it, a lot of calls, and congratulations to the HPU men's basketball team for an outstanding performance. But we're not here to talk basketball today. We are talking about one of HPU's newest and exciting sports, HPU Stunt. This marks the first year that the Sharks are competing in Stunt. And leading the way is head coach James Burns. Coach Burns has been part of the cheer and spirit world here for years, and he's known for his technical precision and his passion for elevating athletes both on and off the mat. He's now taking this experience into this new exciting collegiate sport as he helps build the foundation for HPU's inaugural stunt team. I want to welcome head coach James Burns to the show. How are you?
Aloha, everyone. I'm good. We've actually had a practice this morning, so we are, super still energized and ready to talk about the thing we were just doing a couple hours ago.
A couple hours, but it's an early morning, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm going to introduce everybody here in a moment, but joining him today are two of his amazing student athletes who have been a huge part of the program's early growth and energy, Charlotte Maravilla and Alexis Haag. We'll hear more from them in just a bit, so we're going to bring you guys into the conversation. But I want to kick things off with Coach Burns and learn a little bit about this sport. I imagine that many of our listeners are not familiar with stunt. So, Coach, for fans who might not have heard of this sport, can you explain a little bit about what stunt actually is, and also how it is different from the traditional cheer program that you've been a part of?
So stunt is a game format. It's game-style cheerleading. It's head-to-head between two teams. You'll have your home team on the left and your away team on the right. It's set up on the same 9-panel floor that a cheerleading routine would be set up on, but for two teams. So that middle panel that splits the center will be center, and then the other two will be 4 and 4 mats. So each team does the same identical routine side to side, and it's pretty much matched up and scored based on errors and execution. So there's minor errors, there's major errors, and there's different things that constitute that within how many steps you take, if things fall, what have you in regard to execution. It's kind of like a general idea. They actually have announcers at the event, so it's pretty easy to follow along. And then with cheerleading, what you'll see is like a team go out on this 9-panel floor, just one team, and they'll perform their routine. There will be lots of flash and choreography, and a lot of the same skills that are performed in stunt or in cheerleading are done for stunt, but you'll see a lot of the same kind of like pyramids and stunt elements and tumbling elements, but it's 1 2-minute and 30-second routine. Whereas these routines that you'll see side by side for stunt are 8 count routines, which are only maybe less than 2 minutes long, where a college cheerleading routine would be 2 minutes and 15 seconds long. So it's just a little bit different in terms of like flash choreography and then the composition, and then versus an exact game of like this and this next to each other.
Okay, so a back and forth. So that creates the excitement where you've got sort of a live competition.
Kind of,
happening.
yeah. There's no like back and forth going, but the same routine at the same time. So you can see who messes up what tumblers don't make their marks and things like that.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's exciting. Now, is this a newer sport in general, or is it just new to HPU?
It's just new to HPU. It's been around for quite some time. I think since 2007 is when this whole stunt thing started to, craft. It's really just to increase the amount of opportunities for women in college sports. It's also to preserve the traditional elements of cheerleading, kind of take out a bit of the choreography and the flash and flare, and like focus specifically on execution and how well something is performed. So
wow, well, you make it seem awful exciting, and I can't wait to see a match. But the sport is still relatively new, but it's growing fast, especially at the collegiate level. What makes stunt such an exciting addition to the NCAA landscape?
I think it's just a different kind of sport that we don't have amongst other NCAA sports, because these are flipping humans, right? We don't have a ball that we play with. We're not swinging anything. We're throwing humans in the air. And for something like this to be added to one of the NCAA sports, I think it's quite exciting. So, it draws lots of folks from all over to come and watch. The crowds at some of these games are insane, and even just like the students, like the student engagement, it makes it super exciting. So.
Wow, you're a busy man. You've been part of the cheer program and coaching that for a number of years now. What made you want to take on this new challenge and introduce a new sport here at the university?
I've seen stunt happen for quite some time now. When I cheered at Louisville forever ago, I remember that they used to have a stunt program, and I thought, well, why don't they bring that back? Or, why don't they have that anymore? And then I know that I've been talking with Debbie quite a bit, and she's like, they keep wanting us to do stunt. We've got the right folks in place. Let's go ahead and do it. And I said, well, I would love to hop on board and, learn something new. Again, stunt is stemmed from cheerleading, so I'm able to pretty much take all of my knowledge and expertise regarding that and the skills that I've done as an athlete and already taught other college students, and move it toward, another way to perform those skills. So.
Nice.
Excited.
Well, I think we've chosen the right man for the job for sure. You're passionate about cheer, and you bring that energy to HPU athletics, and it's amazing and wonderful that you've decided to take this on and help introduce the sport here at HPU. Stunt is working towards becoming a fully recognized NCAA championship sport. Can you explain a little bit about what that process looks like, and what the recognition would mean for the athletes and for the university?
The recognition would be super great, especially for those that have been participating in stunt for years, and it hasn't been an NCAA sport. So I think having that added would mean a lot to the folks that have graduated out of their years participating, and then especially for those that have been perhaps doing it throughout high school, like Charlotte used to do club stunt at California All Stars, and I'm sure now that she's moving into college, she's excited to hear that her club activity is now becoming an official NCAA sport. So I think it means a lot to everyone. The process going into it really just has to do with everyone voting. I think we just took a vote recently in January, so we kind of are working together to collect all of that and figure out the support that we'll have moving forward. So
coaches and athletes seldom get an opportunity to sort of create something new or set a foundational, sort of baseline for things. And as someone who's helping to lead this movement at HPU, how does it feel to be a part of a sport that's literally writing its own history right now?
It feels really great. It's pretty cool. I'm kind of honored to be the person in this role right now, especially with all the success we've had with cheer. It's writing its own history now as the sport itself, and then it's writing its own history in Hawaii, because this will be the first stunt team to exist out here. No other university has it. There's no high school stunt. There's no club stunt. This will be the first stunt program in the state of Hawaii. So we hope to maybe encourage high schools to hop on board, and perhaps if there are other schools that would be interested, we love to play some games on island with folks that we know here. So
yeah, it's got to be a little bit stressful without having teams here on island to compete with. So you've got to create competition. So it sounds like you're trying to create demand and really propagate the sport throughout the island. Mm-hmm. Are there any plans to help bring the awareness of the sport more to area high schools and all? Do you have like an exhibition planned or something, an open house to bring more potential athletes into the fray and connected to the sport?
Yeah, so we'll be doing things at different events next semester during the spring semester. We're a growing team, and we're getting all of our content and things that we need done for our routines, and working with our stunt groups so that we're all familiar with one another. But next semester we'll be doing clinics, and we'll be offering folks to come and see us on island. And then for the future, we just want to bring stunt and kind of like let it flow throughout, be the first ones to set the bar. So,
well, it sounds like it's a great spectator sport for sure, and something that once it's introduced, you're going to get a lot of fans coming out to cheer the team on. From flips to pyramids and formations and strategy, stunt is redefining what competitive cheer can be. And Coach Burns and his team are right at the center of it for sure. When we come back from this commercial break, we're going to get to know our wonderful student athletes who are with us this morning and who are setting the tone for the first year of the program, and they're going to learn to be what it's like to be part of something brand new. So before we do that, we're going to have a quick thank you for one of our wonderful sponsors.
So nestled within the Kahalo Apua'a Pearl at Kalo'ao is a club deeply rooted in the Mo'elo Wa'ipana and traditional names of the Aina, while honoring its history as Pearl Country Club. Now, after exciting renovations, we offer enhanced facilities, premium Pulsipum greens, and a revitalized experience that blends tradition with modern luxury.
And we are back. We are back with our wonderful stunt team here, and you are listening to the Sharks Weekly Show on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, broadcast live every Thursday morning at 9 on 95.1 FM and AM 760. Also, for those of you that want to throw a question or two out to our coach or our student athletes, you can text in your question right now to 808-888-5481. That number again, 808-888-5481. But before we jump back into talking stunt, we want to share a few results from around the Sharkosphere this past week. Men's and women's soccer were on the road last week, hitting Dominican and Menlo. The men unfortunately lost both games, and the women split with a loss and a tie. Volleyball was also on the road, playing Fresno Pacific, Jessup, and Dominican. And even though they battled hard, taking a set at Jessup, the Sharks fell in 3 matches. But we mentioned earlier, on the bright side of things, the HPU men's basketball team pulled off a major upset this last week, upsetting Boise State. It was one of the greatest upsets in NCAA basketball history for sure, taking down a Division I opponent in front of a crowd of 10,795 people. While the game was an exhibition for the Sharks, it fully counted for Boise State, so sorry about that, guys. We put one in the loss column for you there. And we are certainly proud of head coach Jesse Nakanishi and the other guys on the team. What a wonderful historic moment for HPU. So, speaking of historic, let's come back to stunt, and I want to bring our student athletes into the conversation. And again, we have Charlotte Maravilla and Alexis Haag with us today. So, Alexis, this first question is for you. This is a brand new sport at HPU, as we've been talking about, and you and Charlotte are literally making history as the first team ever to compete here at HPU. What's that been like for you? Tell us a little bit about your experience.
Honestly, so far, it's been really great for me. It's a really, exciting thing to be a part of, and I think, everyone on the team is exciting, and, obviously we still have a lot more to do, but it's been, really cool knowing we're, the first ones.
Yeah. Now, and you mentioned earlier in our conversation you're from Maryland, so I imagine new sport, new place. It's a big life change for you. How are you adapting to that? And are you settling into life out here again and starting with the new sport?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's the best thing I could have done for my freshman year, because some of my friends who aren't in sports, I see them struggle, but I feel like this opened me up because our entire team is basically freshmen. We have one senior and one sophomore. So it's I know pretty much everyone now in the dorms, all because of my team. So it really builds all of us to be friends, and it's been honestly great to open me up to people.
Yeah, it's got to be just a much easier experience to step in when you have sort of a preset group, an ohana, if you will, to help you sort of acclimate and feel comfortable with the area. Charlotte, what about you? What's the experience been like for you?
It's been really, really great. I'm meeting so many different people. I'm learning new things even, and it's such a great experience to be here. And, to be learning under Coach James, it really is such an honor.
And now you're from California, so had you spent time out in Hawaii before coming out here? Or?
Yeah, my family comes over here. I have a couple family in Mililani Town, actually. My aunt came here for nursing at Manoa, and, I've been out here a couple times, and it's definitely different, but I love it.
Wonderful lifestyle for sure. Well, Charlotte, a follow-up question for you. For students or fans who haven't seen a stunt routine, can you describe what a typical performance looks like? What's the atmosphere like during a competition? The energy. Just give us a sense of what that looks like from your perspective.
Yeah, it's really competitive. It's really competitive, almost like malicious, I want to say. It's amazing, and it's really great. We start off with a coin toss for, who has possession. Like Coach James said, how it's set up, home team on one side, away team on the other. We have two teams going at the same time. We have, in college, 24 routines that we need to perfect or, modify so that they're as close to perfect as possible, to get us those points. But yeah, super competitive. At least when I was playing in high school, it was honestly cutthroat, but it was amazing.
Well, it's good to have that competition, that edge come into a sport. And it sounds a little bit like almost like a dance-off where there's sort of, we do it, you got to match it or do it better a little bit. And that creates a lot of excitement. And that's probably something that many of us have seen in, movies and so forth. But, Coach, what kind of athletes, really thrive in stunt? Are you seeing more traditional cheer athletes, gymnasts, crossover athletes from other sports joining the mix? But, what makes the perfect athlete in stunt?
I think pretty much the same thing that makes someone great in cheerleading. We get a lot of cheerleaders, mostly traditional cheerleading. That's again what it stemmed from. So anyone that has a cheerleading background can participate in stunt. It's also pretty catered to those that are maybe perhaps better at tumbling or just better at stunting. You don't have to be super well-rounded. You don't have to be able to do everything. You don't have to be a basket flyer. You don't necessarily have to be a pyramid flyer, but we can move folks around within routines like that. Like Charlotte just mentioned a moment ago, you can modify routines to your team needs. Things don't always have to be exact with the routine guidelines that you're given to follow at the beginning of the year. So you can just maneuver your folks a lot more differently than perhaps you would in cheerleading. What makes an athlete great for stunt, I think, are a lot of the same things that make an athlete great for cheer. You're dedicated, you're diligent, you're hardworking, you like to, you look out for your teammates, someone falls, you're always running to catch, all those kinds of things make you great.
And so how do you recruit athletes? Because, in Hawaii, this is the only team. So what are you looking for? And are there players abroad that you look at, or is it mainly in the U.S.?
So we have a lot of folks that reach out via our questionnaire. So recruiting, we did 4 recruiting events off island this year. One in Oklahoma, one in Texas, and then 2 in California, one in SoCal, one in NorCal. And they went pretty great. We had a lot of interest coming, showing up to our table. A lot of folks saying, HPU, you guys have cheer, you have acro, but stunt is more my speed, and you guys are finally adding that to your list of sports. We're super excited. So recruiting is primarily done with folks reaching out, their interest, and then moving forward, we'd like to host some clinics here to actually bring folks to Island and then meet the team now that we've had a semester to establish all of our skills and things that we need. Right. But yeah, that's pretty much a bit of the same thing that you do for cheer, because at these recruiting combines, they're also done with cheerleading in mind as well. So like USA Cheer is the governing body. And kind of like a big umbrella, and they put on stunt and cheer combine. So folks that go there, I want to be recruited for cheerleading or stunt, or I don't know what I want to do in college yet. Even acro folks might go and go to these events and see what they like or what kind of like stunting abilities they want to try out. And that's pretty much what you get to see.
Students from abroad too, or is it mainly U.S.?
I think we have one athlete right now that's from abroad, and then we've got everyone else that is from the mainland, right. And then we've got, I think, one local person here. So
so really from all over.
Everyone's from all over. Two. Excuse me, we have 2. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Just like cheer, we only have one person that's local. Everyone else is from all over California to Maryland to Texas, Florida, all over.
Is there a particular state that has more athletes, like in your experience, that has more stunts or cheer or acro athletes than others? Or
I would
is there
say
like one state that's like, wow, like
I would say there's a
California?
few states that are like pretty well concentrated for stunt. California, absolutely. Texas, quite a bit.
Texas.
Oklahoma. What other ones do you think you guys could name?
I don't really know. I mean, I'm from California. It was almost every high school that had a stunt team around me.
so popular in California?
Very, very popular in California. Alexis,
What about Maryland?
Maryland, it's never like, I don't know if it's a thing in Maryland, but
How did you get in?
when I joined the team, I told my cheer coach, and everyone on my team looked at me like I was crazy, and they were like, "I don't know what
Your
that is."
coach had never heard of it?
No, no one on my team had ever
not
heard
known
of
on
it.
the East Coast, huh?
I don't know. I had never heard of it either. I've done cheer my entire life, and I've never heard of it until now. So I
Wow.
think it might just be on the West Coast.
Maybe a
I don't
West
know.
Coast thing?
Midwest, West
Like a Jack
Coast.
in the Box
Okay.
thing?
Roughly, yeah. I mean,
Just West Coast, kind of like, but it's got to kind of go. Well, it's in Texas too, though.
yeah, that's what I was kind of saying. So it's kind of
moving across the country.
Yeah.
and abroad.
Yeah, and cheerleading Texas is a very big cheerleading state. So
That's what I'm
having
thinking.
stunt
All the sports with cheer, right? Probably you would see a lot of athletes, right? Like Oklahoma and Texas,
Yeah.
and
Well,
California.
Let's talk a bit about the you mentioned crossover before, right? So you've got acro, you've got cheer, you've got gymnastics, and you've got stunt. Do you, is it possible to be in any or all of those, or do you have to pick one?
You can do more than one. We've got 3 athletes that do cheer and they do stunt, and then we might have a couple more that are interested second semester. You don't have to pick one or the other. I think you could even do cheer and acro or acro and stunt if you wanted to. You just have to make sure that you're balancing everything appropriately. You're practicing what you're allowed to for the hours a week, things like that. And if you have different coaches, then you've got to make sure that you're mindful of everyone's schedule. I coach cheer and stunt, so anyone that wants to do both, I'm able to kind of like make sure no one's being overworked and their schedule is like, conducive for what they have for class and things like that. So,
Well, Charlotte and Alexis, let's talk about your athletic background. So, what we mentioned a few sports that are related in terms of some skill sets. How did you come to stunt, and was it your initial sport? Did you enter through acro or gymnastics? But maybe Alexis, kick us off and give us a little bit of your history.
So growing up, I did like rec cheer, which is basically like a club cheer, for 3 or 4 years, and then I did all-star cheer after that for about 4 years, and then I did my high school team for 4 years. And honestly, when I heard about the stunt team, I thought it was an all stunting team and like no tumbling, because that's what people in Maryland thought too. They were like, "Oh, all stunt team," when I said stunt, and I was like, "Yeah, I think so." And then I joined, and I realized it has to do with tumbling too, but I enjoy tumbling as well, so it was like a great thing to still have all the aspects of cheer besides like all the dancing and stuff like that. So I was glad I didn't have to like completely switch sports or anything like that.
Okay. And what about you, Charlotte?
I actually did not get into cheer until my freshman year of high school. I initially started out as a competitive dancer, dancing jazz, ballet, lyrical, hip-hop, all of these things. And then my friend Clara Casserly, love her to death.
Shout out.
Shout out. She introduced me to cheer and was like, "Hey, can you come with me to tryouts?" And I was like, "Okay, cool." So then I was on my high school's sideline cheer team for 4 years. And then I think during my sophomore year, I joined a club stunt team at one gym. And then I switched to a different gym. And then I ended up at California All-Stars. So
Okay.
that was really, really great, yeah.
So now you came. Are either of you doing other sports at HPU, or is it only stunt?
For me personally, it's just stunt.
Me too.
Okay. Well, we're glad that you're on the stunt team. That's for sure. Although I'm sure James wouldn't mind having some additional talent on.
would always
cheer.
help.
Exactly. Well, it's a new era for HPU, and these Sharks are embracing it head on. When we come back, we're going to talk about bigger goals ahead for this team and what it means to grow a sport from the ground up, where Coach Burns sees this program going next. So before we do, a quick shout out to one of our additional amazing sponsors.
At DSE Hawaii, formerly Disuhiro Electric Inc., we're dedicated to providing efficient, high-quality work backed by over 30 years of experience, delivering performance that represents true customer value.
Many thanks, DSE.
Many thanks.
and we will be right back. And we are back. You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, live from the HPU Esports Arena at Aloha Tower Marketplace. We are joined here today by head coach James Burns and members of HPU's first ever stunt team, Charlotte Maravilla and Alexis Haag. But real quick, we want to take a moment just to remind you that Senior Day for men's and women's soccer is this Saturday at the Waipaio Peninsula Soccer Stadium. First kick for the women's game is at 1:30 p.m. and the men's game will follow directly afterwards. Senior Day ceremonies will be held immediately after each match. But let's get back to talking stunt. So, Coach, this is the first step in building a long-term program, and HPU creates cultures of success in all of our sports. Tell us a little bit about what your short-term goals are for the season, and then how are you laying the foundation for years ahead?
So I got a lot of really great advice from other head coaches when I got to go to these recruiting events. And just kind of like get their take on how things went for them, because a lot of them started their own programs and now they're, winning, multiple national championships, or they're just having really successful seasons, in general. And pretty much a lot of the advice that I got was, because like Charlotte mentioned earlier, you'll have 24 routines and you really have to do your best to master all of them and execute them well. So for us right now as a building program, we're really focused on building like our foundation within those routines, like types. So there's jumps and tumbling 1 through 8. There are partner stunts 1 through 8. There are pyramid and tosses 1 through 8. So within that, the difficulty goes up from 1 to 8, right? So for us being a first-year team, we're really focused on mastering 1, 2, and 3 so we can be very competitive in those in each quarter, and then perhaps after that we'll make some modifications to the routines afterward that kind of fit our team. So our foundations just really need to be technically based in what we think we are best at, which we feel would be more of the fundamentals and like the basics of getting stunt down and making sure we can just execute well.
Yeah.
So,
the success of any sport is predicated in collegiate sports around recruiting at the end of the day too. So, what's recruiting strategy? We talked about this being a bit of a newer sport in some areas of the country anyway, and the crossover between, other sports. Do you have a recruiting strategy that helps create that culture of excellence? Are you looking to convert athletes from other sports that have potential? Are you looking for athletes that are, well-versed in stunts specifically? But what's the recruiting strategy that creates success?
Recruiting strategy, I think it kind of is, it depends on the person, and you kind of have to get a feel for what they want and what they're looking for. Because I know a lot of folks, they want to maybe practice, and maybe some places they perhaps want like a lighter load with things, or just, like a decent, school athletics balance. And I feel like we have that here. I think that's part of my recruiting strategy, is letting folks know that also even if you need to be a nursing major, like we're open to all majors and things like that. I know some schools perhaps don't allow nursing majors or sports at different schools allow nursing majors or specific, just because of the time commitment to that degree. So I try to make it work with all of our athletes at whatever that is that they want to do, or even if they want to do cheer and stunt as well. Like we have a few folks that are doing both, and some people are, when we go to these events, they're like, do I have to pick one or can I do both? I'm like, you can do both if you'd like. And, there's a lot of other questions within that, but, I always let them know up front, I'm not going to run you ragged. I'm not going to keep you in the gym practicing however, many hours a week, but within that. And then of course we offer scholarships as well. And then, the island itself is a recruiting strategy, a recruiting tactic. So, being able to let folks know of, what we have here and to offer, along with the sport that they love to do, and especially with it being new, a lot of people just waiting for us to start this. So, it's finally here, and that at this point, that is a recruiting strategy. Like, come on board, we're here now.
Yeah. It's hard to say no to Hawaii, right?
Coach, with any, team sport, trust is such a big part of that dynamic, so how do you build, especially with this sport, trust with each player? Because, there probably is, I would imagine I would be terrified, like a fear factor of, people in the air. Like, so how do you build that trust when you have freshmen and you have such young players?
Well, it really goes into building your fundamentals. You have to make sure that you're mastering all of these rudiments before you do anything harder, or someone's going to get hurt. So those that are coming on, as this is a first year program, the experience is, kind of on a spectrum. There's folks that are super new. There are folks that have been doing it for some time. And that doesn't matter really in the grand scheme of things. When you need to build a program, you need to make sure first and foremost, everything is safe and everyone's on the same page wherever you are in your terms of like experience. So that's pretty much how you build that trust, is making sure we've all reviewed the same things, we've all worked on this, and we're building up to the points that perhaps maybe other folks are on the team. We don't want to push anyone past their limits. So that's how you build that trust, to see what everyone's capable and comfortable with doing. Excuse me.
And do you do that primarily in practice? Like, what is a practice like?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does a practice look? What does it sound like?
So we start with I would say it's a decent length warm up. It's a little longer than it was last year, and I do the same one for cheer this year. We do everything we do what are called cheer jacks, where it's just like motions cleaning, motions cleaning, motions cleaning. Then we do like lunge squats, like we kind of get like our muscles going. And then after we do kind of like all of that, active movement, we then stretch together. Then that day, depending on what we decide to do with jumps and tumbling or stunts, who we have that day, because we do have cheer athletes, so we don't have everyone come to every practice, so that we can make sure all of our things with academics and our life is okay. Mm-hmm. But so say like the days where we just have our stunt athletes, we'll do primarily jumps and tumbling. And then the days that we have everyone on the floor, we'll work on pyramids and tosses. That's what everyone is included in. Same as the partner stunts, that's what everyone's included in. So we make sure that we build all of those fundamentals stunt-wise together. Tumbling is a bit more of an individual thing, so that's kind of like trusting yourself, and building your own confidence and feeling safe in the skills that you need to throw your body over. Right. But when it comes to the practices where we have everyone there, we're working on building the fundamentals so everyone gets to know each other, right? I'm not throwing a ball and no one's catching it, or I'm hitting it, right? I'm throwing a human. It's quite different, and catching them in the same
terrifying,
regard. So.
Doesn't it? I mean, how do you get over this fear that I'm feeling?
I mean, if you've been in cheer before, it's kind of normal. You have a girl face plant every once in a while. Everybody goes silent. Coach looks at you like, don't do that. You get used to it, but it's definitely a fear factor. It's definitely a lot about trust, and we're all learning to be a team. We're all learning each other, and I mean, we're gonna get there.
Charlotte, and go ahead, Alexis. I want to get your point of view on that too.
I was just gonna say, I think like trust-wise, like we never do anything like without spotters around. Like if we're trying a new stunt, he'll have like everyone stand around us, so it's like I'm not the only one behind, like, fearing for my life. It's like there's 10 people standing behind me, and it's like, if she goes that way, someone else got her. So it's like we do that until we perfect it, and then the spotters go away. So it's never, I would never say I'm scared or feel like unsafe when I'm doing like a stunt, because we work on it so hard before we don't have spotters.
But I imagine like that very first toss, right? Think back to the very first time that you did it. What was that feeling like? And was there fear? And was there, the first time that you set out to do that, there has to be some element of being terrified.
Do you remember the practice we did rewind to experiment? Okay.
I was gonna say, I've done cheer my whole life, but I've never done like these high of like level, and like I had never done a rewind before, which is like, I'm gonna explain, like a brace backflip basically, and into a stunt, like in the air, and it was really helpful because like even with tumbling, like Coach James, he's always willing to do it first. Like if I'm like, I've never done this before, he'll immediately be like, okay, I'll do the first one, and then I can watch him do it, which I've never had a coach that's like willing to like most of my coaches are just like, would be like, okay, do it, but they would never be able to do it themselves. So I'd be like, but he'll be like
That's
immediately
impressive.
out there to do like a back tuck. Like I don't know, it's like really easy to watch. And then also it's like having girls on the team that are really like good helps, because it's like, if say I'm scared doing a rewind, my bases are confident, so it's like makes me confident in it.
It's all back to trust.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, from zero to first, HPU Stunt is already turning heads and inspiring others to dream big. When we come back, we're going to wrap things up with the final thoughts and see what messages this team may want to share with the Sharks Nation. But before we do that, we want to thank BSN Sports, another one of our amazing sponsors.
Oh, at BSN Sports, we create exclusive personalized solutions for your program. From custom uniforms and gear to fan wear, branding, and more.
Many thanks
Thank
to
you very
BSN
much.
Sports. All right, we'll be right back. You're listening to Sharks Weekly on Hawaii Sports Radio Network. And we are in the final segment of today's Shark Weekly with HPU Stunt, joined by head coach James Burns and two of his amazing student athletes that are helping to shape the start of this exciting new era at HPU, Charlotte Maravilla and Alexis Haag. So once again, it's nice to give a shout out to our producer, Mr. Paul Breck. Paul, it's good to see you again. You're keeping us on time and on topic, and I very much appreciate that. Paul, do you have anything to add this morning?
I can add some text questions on in if you'd like, Jeff.
Let's come in.
Well, let's see. We'll start with a couple about the sport that we have on today. And Coach, this one, just kind of a layup. When's the first stunt event or competition? And if it's not at home, when can fans come see you guys compete?
So we won't be hosting our first season, but we look to host next year. And our first event will be the Joust at California Baptist University in March.
Beautiful. Also, another text question if you could, are there different parts of the pyramid formation? What are the different parts? What are their roles? And, how's that kind of compare different positions in other sports?
I'm not sure how it compares in other sports, but I can just kind of give a general description of positions in a pyramid exactly. So you'll have your tops. Those are the ones that kind of get thrown around primarily, or they're at the 2.5 high level, or if it's not 2.5 high, it's still whatever that highest structure is. Structure is pretty much a pyramid that you build. You have your mid layers, which are mids for short. They're the supporting base, or kind of like base flyers in a way. They kind of help hold weight or help balance or just make things safer in the air. And then you've got everyone on the bottom of the, if they've got 2 feet on the ground, they're a base, whether it's a back base or a side base, main base. So usually in a stunt group, you'll have 3 people on the floor, a set of bases, and then 1 back base or a back spot, and then you'll have your top, and then within a pyramid you'll have base, mid, top. So it's kind of like how that works.
Beautiful. I think that's a great way, especially on an audio medium. I thought that was a great way to give a visual for people. And then I guess that kind of leads into the final text question from this texter. Does everybody get thrown in the air, or are there just kind of a few designated humans that go flying? Does everybody get a chance to be a base? How's that work?
We've got bases that can fly. We've got flyers that can base. But there are folks that, they keep their feet on the ground, and their primary role is to be supporting bases or back spots. And then we do have some athletes that are designated to fly only, and that is what they are specialized in and what they were recruited for. So, yeah.
Beautiful. It seems like every other team sport, you got to fill positions and specific roles. And then the last thing from our friend of Sharky, a personal question. You're also the cheer coach. Can we expect Sharky back this year? Can we, where's Sharky been?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I think Finn, yeah. I think we actually saw Sharky and Finn at, what was the event that we just had here?
Oh, it was our 60th celebration.
Here. So if you didn't get to see him then, I'm sorry. We did take lots of pictures with them, and then we should be seeing them at our basketball games.
Beautiful. And that wraps up our text questions.
Those are really good questions.
It was a lot of fun.
Kind
of left our athletes out, but I'm glad Coach was ready for the hot seat.
Well, Coach is always on the hot seat. So, Coach, when you look at this group, what really stands out to you most? Is it their work ethic, their creativity, or just their hunger to grow?
All of those are relevant. I think it's their enthusiasm. Because everyone is new. A lot of them are freshmen, so when they came and we started practices, they were all excited to get going, and it seems like that every day, even though it's always a slow start when it comes to the 6 a.m.s, because everyone has to wake up early, get there and get your body moving for whatever it is that we're doing, and then I'd say usually after the first 10 minutes, everything's rolling. Like they were enthusiastic just as they were the first day that we all met. So
is it hard to balance, for both of you, your practice schedule with going to school, and how do you balance all of that, like early mornings and then classes?
I mean, for me, I'm still trying to fall into a routine. Like, I either get to eat breakfast during the day if my bio lecture doesn't go super long, but if it does go long, then no breakfast until 2 p.m. I'm trying to get into, figuring out my times and everything, but I feel like I'm pretty balanced and I'm figuring things out, getting, assignments done, grades are up, so.
Great.
Yeah, I think I've fallen, originally it was very hard, but I think now I'm in a routine. And it also helps. I think all my teachers are supportive, knowing athlete and stuff. So it's not.
That's what I've heard. I've heard that the professors are really supportive of athletics here, so that's great.
Yeah, athletics are an important part of your student life and your student experience. It doesn't take a backseat, obviously, to academics, and those always come first.
Right,
but we have a very supportive culture here in terms of the recognition of how difficult it is for our student athletes to compete, especially in such a remote place where so many of your games and activities and matches and all are 5-hour flight away and 2,500 miles. That's a lot to ask of young people. Alexis and Charlotte, I want to ask you guys if you could describe in one word right now where you think the team is at and the experience. What's the one word, the one adjective that you might use to describe how you feel about things right now?
I'd say in terms of what the team is, everyone's really willing. Everyone's willing to learn. Everyone's willing to show up. Everyone's willing to, be there for each other. And, everyone's willing. Yeah.
Willing. It's a good word.
Yeah.
Mine's kind of the same. I was just going to say, determined, because I don't think I know anyone on the team yet that's been no, I'm not doing that, or no, I don't want to do this, I'm tired, this, that. Everyone, wants to do it. Everyone's there because they want to be there.
Yeah. I think, any team would tell you that the secret to success in any sport is about the team's chemistry and the feeling of attacking it together as a unit. It sounds absolutely, Coach, like you've created that culture and that atmosphere among your student athletes, and it's showing in their performance and their excitement about being here for sure. Do you guys have thoughts to build on that? Does it feel like this is home to you right now and this is the experience that you've been looking for?
Yeah, I really do feel like that. I originally knew maybe one girl on the team before the first practice, and now it's I feel comfortable talking to any of the girls. Anytime I walk to class, I pass 3 of them, we all say hi to each other, and it's been very welcoming.
Nice. And what about you, Charlotte?
Yeah, I'd say that we're all friends so far. We're really learning how to be teammates, full trusting teammates, and turn into a stunt ohana. We're really building up everything, but I'm very excited to see how we grow as a team.
How many players are on the team?
We have.
What are we talking?
I think we have 17 right now.
So 17. That's pretty.
Yeah.
Good. And what is the number that you'd like to have, or is that the number that you want?
It would be great to have 25.
25.
It would be at
so
least.
So maybe I could try out if I become a student.
Please do.
There's a possibility I get over the fear factor.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a flyer.
Okay.
All right. That's
keep your feet on the ground. Maybe you could, if you want to cheer. We've got some boys spots open.
Yeah.
So this is a dual gender sport. We didn't actually establish
That's
that.
a good question.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what is?
Oh,
no?
stunt is not.
Stunt is not.
No, stunt is off.
Yeah. That's what I was kind of we can.
Sorry, Greg.
Add you to cheer.
Got to wait till we start.
I'm glad that you clarified that because I was really, I had the gears going. So I'm glad that you clarified.
Well, one thing, Coach Burns said, he's looking for 25. We've got 17. So for all of you aspiring stunt athletes out there, there's a place for you on HPU's team.
That's exciting.
Next year. That's very exciting.
8 spots.
Yeah.
Or if anyone wants to transfer over second semester, we've got spots.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Well, Hawaii is an attractive place. And, we'd be remiss if we didn't ask our standard question about favorite beach and favorite activity in Hawaii. Charlotte, why don't you tell us, do you have a favorite beach and a favorite activity here?
On the Hawaiian Islands, I have a favorite beach. I'm not going to say it.
No.
On Oahu, I want to say maybe Waimanalo.
Okay.
Maybe.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful spot.
Love that. Really good spot to eat on North Shore. Surf and salsa.
Okay. What about you, Alexis?
Well, I guess activity and beach. I became close with girls on the stunt team, and we like to on Sundays go to North Shore and we go to Sunset Beach Church together.
Yeah.
And then after church we spend all day at the beach and we get food and acai bowls and stuff like that, and then we head back.
Wow.
So that's like my favorite.
What a recruiting strategy right there.
Yeah. Well,
What a
for
life.
all of our listeners, tell your friends, you can't go wrong coming to Hawaii Pacific University, the beautiful island of Oahu, and joining an amazing team that's on a path to success and a foundation of excellence. So, Coach, thanks for all that you do in creating an excellent new addition to the HPU athletics family, and we appreciate you guys coming on the show today. So that's a wrap for Sharks Weekly, and a big mahalo again to Coach Burns and his student athletes, Charlotte Maravilla and Alexis Haag, for joining us today and giving us a look into HPU's newest sport, stunt. You've been listening to Sharks Weekly live from the Hawaii Pacific University Esports Arena here at Aloha Tower Marketplace, powered by DSE Hawaii on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network 95.1 FM and AM 760.